Have you ever imagined what it would be like to finally stop pretending you're okay? To no longer wear that heavy mask that says, "I'm fine," when deep down, you're exhausted from holding it all together. Maybe you're not looking for applause anymore. Maybe you just want peace. A break from trying to be the strong one, the reliable one, the one who never flinches. Maybe you've been silently hoping for a moment to fall apart without feeling like a failure. But no one talks about that, right? The truth is, trying to avoid pain is exactly what keeps it alive. The more you hide from it, the more power it has over you. And the more you try to appear untouchable, the more you stay chained to everything you wish to escape. Disappointment, rejection, criticism, betrayal. You keep thinking if you hold on just a little longer, you'll finally become that version of yourself who feels nothing. But feeling nothing isn't strength, it's suppression. And suppression always leaks. Through anger, through anxiety, through silence that screams louder than words. Carl Jung once said, "We are not what happens to us, but what we choose to become." And maybe that's where your journey begins. Not with escaping pain, but with finally facing it, because true strength doesn't mean pain disappears. It means you're no longer afraid to look it in the eye. You stop running, you stop hiding, and you start integrating what's been waiting to be seen. This video isn't for the ones who want shortcuts. It's for the ones ready to stop breaking themselves apart, trying to hold it all in. If you're here, it's not by accident. Something in you is ready, and what comes next might hurt a little, but it will free you a lot. 1. The true source of pain. Pain isn't something that others give to you. It's something already waiting inside. Something old, familiar, maybe even buried so deep that you forgot how it got there. When someone says something that stings, it's not just their words. It's the echo they wake up inside you, like pressing on a bruise you didn't know you had. That's why two people can hear the same thing, and one shrugs while the other spirals. Because pain doesn't come from the outside. It lives where you haven't looked yet. He's always tried to play it cool, you know? Be the strong one, the one who says, "It's fine," even when it's not. But the truth is, his chest gets tight over little things. A comment, a delay, a look. He doesn't understand why it hits so hard. What he doesn't realize is that it's not that thing that's hurting him. It's the old thing it brought back to life. That's how unresolved trauma works. It whispers through present moments as if they're brand new, when really, they're just repeats. Most men walk around with unhealed stories. They think if they ignore them long enough, they'll disappear. They won't. Emotional freedom doesn't come from pretending to be okay. It comes from stopping, just for a moment, and asking, "Why did that bother me so much?" That one question can crack open years of pain and years of pretending. And inside that crack, that's where inner healing begins. You can't fix what you refuse to face. You can't outrun something that lives inside your chest. The longer you keep trying to escape pain, the deeper it roots itself. But here's where it starts to change. Not by shielding yourself, but by turning inward. Because the moment you stop blaming the outside, you begin to reclaim your power from within. And that's when a different illusion starts to unravel. 2. The illusion of control. Control feels safe, doesn't it? If you can predict every move, every word, every outcome, maybe then you won't get blindsided. Maybe then you won't feel that familiar sting of disappointment. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Control is a lie your mind tells to protect you from chaos. The more you try to micromanage life, the more emotionally rigid you become. Real emotional freedom isn't about predicting the future. It's about becoming unshaken when the unpredictable happens. There's a guy I once coached, had his life planned down to the hour. Gym, work, family, future investments. The moment something slipped even just a bit, he'd unravel. Why? Because deep down, control was his bandage. It kept the fear at bay, the fear that maybe he wasn't enough, that maybe things would fall apart without his grip. But when he learned to loosen that grip, to lean into discomfort instead of avoiding it, he started to find something wild. Peace. Trying to control everything is like standing in the ocean and trying to stop the waves with your hands, exhausting and pointless. But what if instead you learned how to swim? Inner healing doesn't mean everything goes according to plan. It means you don't fall apart when it doesn't. And trust me, it won't always. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means giving in to a deeper kind of strength. One that flows, adapts, and responds from awareness, not fear. Control is built on the idea that if you just do everything right, life will reward you with safety. But life doesn't operate on your terms. It doesn't follow your calendar. It follows its own rhythm. The sooner you stop chasing control, the sooner you start meeting life as it is. And when that happens, a different kind of power emerges. Not from gripping tighter, but from seeing clearly. And that's when the hidden forces within start to surface. 3. The unconscious runs the show. Most men think they're making choices. They think they're deciding who to love, what to pursue, what to say. But pause for a second. Have you ever noticed how some reactions just happen? Like you're watching yourself get angry, self-sabotage, shut down, and you don't even know why. That's not you failing. That's your unconscious speaking. And until you learn to listen, it will keep directing your life behind the curtain. I remember talking to a guy who couldn't figure out why every relationship ended the same. Different women, same pattern. It wasn't until we dug deeper that he saw the root, a buried childhood belief that he wasn't worth staying for. That belief lived in his unconscious, making every goodbye feel like confirmation. This is how trauma works. It doesn't knock. It just walks into the room and takes control. That's why awareness isn't optional. It's survival. You can't heal what you won't admit is there. And the unconscious doesn't care if you're successful, popular, or in shape. It only cares about staying hidden. That's why emotional freedom isn't found in doing more. It's found in seeing more. Start small. Pay attention to what triggers you. Notice the patterns you keep repeating. Write it down. Name it. That's the first crack in the wall between you and your inner healing. Most people think fate is out there, but Jung said it. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. That means you're not cursed. You're just unaware. And once you see the pattern, you can break it. That's when the mask of control falls off. That's when you stop reacting and start responding. And that response, it's born from something deeper, something most people never touch. But once you do, everything starts to shift. 4. Awareness is the real armor. You've been told to be tough, to not let things get to you, to brush it off, walk it off, man up. But real strength isn't about how well you fake it. It's about how deeply you know yourself. Awareness is the armor that actually works. Because once you see what lives inside you, your fears, your wounds, your shadows, they stop owning you. And suddenly, the world has less power to shake you. I had a friend who kept saying, "I'm numb to it all." But behind that numbness was a storm. He wasn't unaffected. He was disconnected. The moment we dug beneath that silence, the pain poured out. That's what most men carry. A silent war inside, while wearing a mask that says, "I'm fine." But that mask isn't armor, it's a cage. Awareness breaks that cage open and gives you room to breathe, finally. So how do you build this awareness? Start where it hurts. The next time you get triggered, don't run from it. Don't distract yourself. Sit with it. Ask yourself, what am I actually feeling right now? Not what should I feel or what would make me look strong, just what's real. It's uncomfortable at first, but with practice, it becomes a habit, a new reflex, one rooted in clarity, not defense, because once you see clearly what's within, the outside world can't use it against you. You're not bulletproof. You're just not fragile anymore. Your emotions become signals, not threats. Your thoughts become tools, not enemies. That's the quiet power of awareness. It doesn't shout, it doesn't fight, it just sees. And when you begin to see like that, another layer of truth starts to reveal itself. 5. Pain lives only in the present. Here's a tough pill to swallow. Your pain from the past doesn't actually live in the past. It lives in you right now every time you revisit it. Every time you replay what they said, what happened, or what you wish you'd done differently, you breathe life back into the wound. Your mind keeps pressing play on an old scene, and your body reacts as if it's happening all over again. That's why you get tight in the chest, angry out of nowhere, or feel like you're drowning in something you can't explain. You're not reacting to the memory itself. You're reacting to what it still means to you in the present. Think about it. When you cut your hand, it bleeds. But if it scabs over and heals, it no longer hurts unless something reopens it. Emotional pain works the same way. The issue isn't just what happened years ago. It's that the scab never fully formed, or that you keep picking at it with your thoughts. That's why trauma loops in circles. It's not the original moment, it's the meaning that's attached to it. Meaning is what makes memory hurt. And meaning is always assigned now, in your current state of awareness. Want a practical way to shift this? Next time an old memory comes up that wrecks your peace, don't shove it down. Sit with it like an old friend. Ask it, why are you still here? Write down the emotions it brings. Trace them to the belief underneath. Maybe it's the belief that you're not enough, that you deserved it, that it'll happen again. These unconscious beliefs are what keep the pain alive, not the memory itself. And once you name the belief, you can challenge it, you can rewire it, and that is inner healing in real time. Most people try to escape pain by running from it, distracting themselves, or pretending it's gone. But emotional freedom doesn't come from pretending. It comes from presence, from realizing that the pain you feel now is a signal, not a sentence. The past is not hurting you, your relationship to it is. And here's the magic. Relationships can change. You can learn to see the memory with new eyes. You can take the sting out of the story. And when you do, you open space for a deeper kind of peace, one that doesn't come from forgetting, but from transforming what was. 6. Suffering is the catalyst. No one likes to suffer. We're taught from a young age that pain is a sign of failure, that tears are weakness, and that if something hurts, we should get rid of it fast. But what if suffering isn't here to destroy you? What if it's here to wake you up? Most people miss this. They think pain is punishment, but pain, real pain, is the soul's alarm clock. It doesn't whisper, it screams. And if you're still suffering, it's not because you're broken. It's because something in you is trying to break through. Take a man who just lost everything, his job, his partner, his identity. On the surface, it looks like collapse. But underneath, it's the cracking open of a false life, a story he built to protect himself from the truth that he was never living for himself. Suffering took away everything that wasn't real, and what remained was the foundation to rebuild. That's the hidden gift of pain. It tears down illusions, and in the rubble, you finally meet what's true. If you're in that space right now, where nothing makes sense and everything feels heavy, pause. Don't run from it. Sit in the wreckage. Ask yourself, what is life trying to show me right now? Maybe it's showing you how much of your life was built on survival, not truth. Maybe it's reminding you that silence isn't emptiness, it's clarity. Get a journal. Write what you're resisting, not just what hurts, but what it's asking you to let go of. These aren't breakdowns, they're sacred turning points. The path to emotional freedom often starts in hell. That's not a curse, that's the cost of awakening. You don't get to bypass the fire, but you do get to rise from it. Suffering isn't the enemy, avoidance is. Because when you stop numbing and start feeling, something powerful begins to unfold. A new version of you starts forming, not the you who fakes strength, but the you who was forged in the flame. And that version, he doesn't just survive, he transforms. And what he finds next, that changes everything. 7. Wholeness over perfection. Most men chase perfection like it's a badge of honor, always trying to be better, faster, stronger. But deep down, that chase is exhausting, because perfection doesn't exist. It's a moving target created by fear. Fear of being rejected, fear of not being enough, fear of being seen as you truly are. But here's the thing. You're not supposed to be flawless. You're supposed to be whole. And wholeness isn't about removing the broken parts, it's about bringing them home. A man once told me he felt ashamed of his anxiety, said it made him feel weak. I asked him if he ever talked to that part of himself. He looked confused. But that's the point. We reject what we never try to understand. That anxious part of him wasn't the enemy. It was a younger version of him trying to feel safe. Inner healing happens when you stop cutting out the parts of yourself you dislike and start listening to what they're really saying. Awareness isn't perfection. It's compassion. Want to try something real? Next time you catch yourself trying to fix yourself, pause. Ask, what if I didn't need to be better? What if I just needed to be honest? That's the shift. Make a list of all the traits you usually hide. Fear, insecurity, guilt. Then beside each one, write what that part of you is trying to protect. You'll start to see that none of these flaws are accidents. They were survival tools. And now they're asking to be integrated, not erased. The truth is, nobody's really healed until they stop pretending. True emotional freedom isn't about being immune to pain, it's about being intimate with it, knowing where it lives, knowing what it needs. When you start embracing all your parts, your light, your shadow, your contradictions, you stop needing validation, you stop performing, and you start living from something deeper, something solid. And from that place, a different sense of self starts to emerge, one that isn't chasing it is but remembering. 8. You are not your pain. Most men walk through life wearing their pain like armor. They think it defines them. The heartbreak, the failures, the betrayals. They carry it in their body, in their words, in how they see the world. But you are not what happened to you. You are not the story your mind keeps repeating. Underneath the emotions, beneath the thoughts, there is something deeper, something that has never been hurt, never been broken. That something is awareness, and it's been with you the whole time. I once spoke with a man who said, "I'm just a guy who always gets let down." He wasn't even aware he had turned his pain into an identity. His trauma became a personality. His emotional scars became his worldview. But once we peeled back the story, what we found was a calm awareness, a witness that had seen it all and never flinched. That's the real you, not the voice in your head, not the pain in your chest, but the presence behind it all. If you want to experience this shift, start with silence, just 5 minutes a day. Sit, breathe, and watch your thoughts like they're clouds passing by. Some will be dark, some will try to pull you in, but don't follow. Watch. You'll start to notice something strange. If the pain is a wave, you are the ocean. If the thought is a storm, you are the sky. Awareness doesn't resist, it just sees, and that seeing creates space, space for healing, space for peace. This is where emotional freedom is born, not from fixing your pain, but from realizing it's not who you are. Pain is an experience, not an identity. Thoughts are echoes, not facts. Your story is important, but it isn't the whole truth. The real truth is that what you are can't be damaged, can't be lost. It's what's been watching all along. And when you start to live from that space, you stop surviving and start awakening.